Oh, I owe them about $400 or $500. Anesthesia, I owe them $600.
Taylor Brock's medical bills
$9,639.
are piling up.
The oxygen company has now sent it to collections.
How much does it all cost altogether?
Oh, well over $300,000.
That's not the only price he has to pay.
In my left foot, I have 2 screws. My right foot, I have 15 or 16 screws, and I have 2 metal bars. They're holding my leg where it should be. I'm missing a chunk of bone.
This is all the result of a car crash.
What do you remember from that day?
Oh, all of it. I was barely doing 20.
Barely 20 miles per hour. How could his injuries be this bad?
The guardrail came into the vehicle and it hit my seat and it pushed my seat to the back of my car, the back seat. And then I was sitting on top of the guardrail.
Brock hydroplaned on Bethany Road in Milton, straight into a guardrail which pierced through his car.
If I was going any faster, it would have went through me.
There's about 2 or 3 pictures of that.
You can hear the shock of first responders on the scene in this body cam video we obtained through an open records request.
That's incredible. I've never seen a guardrail go through like that. Well, his foot is it's fully broken just on my skin.
One person who isn't shocked?
Speed as low as 30 miles an hour, you can have serious wrecks.
The speed limit on Bethany Road is 40. Dean Sicking is professor emeritus at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, an expert on guardrails. He explains the type of guardrail Brock hit is called a blunt end. In 1994, the Federal Highway Administration said every state should replace these guardrails because they were spearing cars in crashes and known as extremely hazardous roadside objects. Should blunt end guardrails still be on roads today?
No, they shouldn't.
So why was this one on the road? This federal memo only applies to highways and state roads, not county or municipal roads. However, Sicking says most states have laws saying what's done on highways should apply to all roads in the state. Georgia doesn't have that law. It's up to each individual city or county. The problem with that?
Is there anybody in the city of Milton who is a guardrail expert?
It's not a item that we have specific knowledge of.
Sarah Leaders is the public works director for the city of Milton.
Were you ever aware that these blunt end guardrails were no longer allowed on state highways and state road, no longer deemed safe?
I was not.
The Georgia Department of Transportation is aware these rails are not safe. Why does that matter? Because GDOT actually inspected the very rail Brock hit every 2 years. We have records of it going back to 2006. Leaders says Milton relies on GDOT to tell it if there are any issues. GDOT's reports rate the guardrail a 0, meaning it is not up to safety standards for highways. But because this is not a highway, it doesn't apply. The state agency says, quote, GDOT does not have the authority to make requirements to locals on the design, construction, or maintenance on this facility.
This is the guardrail Taylor Brock hit. After the crash, the city of Milton replaced it with this. But our guardrail expert says this is no different from the blunt end, meaning if somebody hits this head on, it could still spear their car.
That's awful.
So with the information we've given you through our investigation, does Milton now plan to replace all those blunt end guardrails in its city?
Yes, we do plan on that.
The change comes too late for Taylor Brock.
Do you know if you'll ever be back to normal?
No, I don't think it will.
But he hopes his story serves as a warning to cities everywhere in Georgia to find these blunt ends and get rid of them, even if the state doesn't require them to.
I would love for this to, guardrails not to pierce people's vehicles.